actually help us with actually if I'm going all the way. Let me know that's actually going to assist us with marketing the property with the intent that we get the highest best value. And a lot of times we make that decision based on what property we're selling, right? How much we may think it's valued at, whether it's half an acre or like almost 15 acres. In this case, we have to make a business decision on what's the best process to dispose of a piece of property. And most of that decision is all based on how do we get the best return on it for the taxpayer. That's our goal, and that's why I was talking about we weren't going to disclose any of that type of information here tonight. So, the sale. We are partnering with CBRE. They have a timeline that they're working on, that we're working on now. I think here in the next few weeks, it'll actually be posted. It'll be entertaining offers. You want to go through them and say,
sure.
come on, hold on. Nobody gonna mess with you. I got you. You gonna be here. I'm gonna be here. Go ahead. Oh, does somebody, any of you ladies want to have a seat? Anybody, please, please. This is very informal. The councilman told us it's super informal. Please.
Y'all in the building, small and further.
Come on in. Miss Anderson, we got some more people coming down the hallway. Give them just 1 minute. Good evening, ladies. Good evening. Yeah, come on in. You missed all the fireworks. Y'all showed up just on time.
Right on time.
Hi, John.
All right, I'm very protective of Miss Ashley, so I need everybody to be polite to her. Otherwise, I'm going to take you off my Christmas card list.
The only thing I was going to say, instead of a few weeks, the property will be listed by the end of this week. And so the goal is to hopefully list the properties, partner with CBRE to get the best offers. Ultimately, those offers will be presented to City Council. And then from there, we're hoping by the end of the calendar year, we will have something to present to the council. So that's kind of a quick period. So from this end of this week to the end of the calendar year, so end of December, we're hoping that we will have an offer in hand to be able to present to the council for consideration.
Yes, ma'am. This young lady, and then we'll go to you, sir.
Okay, so you said hopefully you'll have something to present to the council. So will your offer or the offers that you all are wanting is going to be a project as well as buying the land? You understand what I'm saying? Or is it just
It's a
20 million?
transaction for the transaction for the land.
Okay, just a transaction. Okay, just money offer.
Correct. The
Okay.
highest cash offer.
Okay.
Does that mean you're not taking?
This gentleman was next. Sorry, Robert, getting to you.
Are there going to be opportunities to counter a offer or?
Yes, sir, definitely. CBRE will be the ones who receive the offer. They will then present them to the city.
Okay.
We will have conversations with CBRE, go back and forth, if that should be the desire of the city.
Yes, sir.
Does that mean they do not have to have any plans or financing or tell the city what they're going to do with it? The reason I ask that, it would be a shame if someone purchased it and let it just sit there and just doing nothing.
Yes, sir. Okay, so you put the hard question on me. That's no big deal. We get paid to answer the hard questions. You're absolutely right. So we didn't put any specific or special conditions on this sale. See, when I say we, the city council, right? There are occasions where they put conditions on the sale, right? And this one, it's as is, I think is how we label it, correct? So it's as is, which means you're right. Somebody could buy it and then decide to wait a few years before they determine how they want to develop the property. Right, but the benefit to us is one, it is in the development cycle, and then it becomes a taxable property.
Let me ask that another way, Donzel, just to get some clarity on that. Do we as a council at this point, when it does come back, have as we're reviewing the responses and all of that, do we have the ability to then put that level of stipulations on it that says, can't sit for a year. It must develop within as we're signing closing documents and things like that. And then opportunities for those types.
I was looking at Chris, and Chris, do you want to?
Yeah, there are,
There are some mechanisms where you could, when you're negotiating an offer with a buyer, where you can put in a provision that says if they do not develop the property within, or approve the property within a set amount of time, you have the opportunity to buy it back from them. So that can be.
But to answer Christian's, the bigger global question, today there's no confusion. Right, now, whether that changes later. So, hold on, I'm trying to, eye contact, we didn't take numbers or anything like this, y'all just bear with me, I'm doing the best I can. Was someone, yeah, that gentleman right there, yes sir, you.
So, but the zoning that is in place today continues.
Correct, and can you guys help us with the zoning is, just so we can tell the world?
Yes. So, it is zoned in a planned development district that has its own regulations. In the planned development district, there are some uses allowed office, hospital, warehouse, parking. However, there's going to change the state law that would impact this property. And we think that multifamily is going to be a multi-use hotel. So on top of all of those,
Yes, thank you.
so sorry about that. So, hi, my name is Andrea Udra. I work with the Planning and Development Department.
She's so good, y'all have no idea, she's excellent.
So I'm here with my director of review, with Andrea from planning, and then Megan zoning. So we're all zoning planning here. The property is on the planned development district that is different than a base code. It allows very specific uses. Medical office, warehouse, stuff like that. However, and up to September, those are the only uses that were allowed on the property. However, in May, there's been a change in state law that now basically overrules the cities and allows multifamily as an allowed use on any property that allows office and warehouse, which this one does. So in addition to the office, medical offices, warehouse on a track, also we have to keep in mind that now multifamily is an allowed use.
Okay.
No, no.
How do you change the zoning to allow single family?
With a simple zoning change, like if anybody who owns the land wants to apply for a zoning change to add single family as an allowed use, they can. However, I want to tell you that, for instance, attached, that what looks like a townhouse, those can be multifamily as well. And they can be condos and they can be multifamily as well.
And you can apply to change some of it to single family, or all of it.
It's up to the property owner. So the property owner can apply to change the
I
zoning.
didn't
Yes.
see sure about that. I want to
Yes.
see 840.
After this gentleman,
840 is what I'm talking about,
Right.
so multifamily is allowed.
Next after this gentleman, another show of hands that way I can.
All right, so there's no deed restriction at this time either? Okay, with the so-called new elephant in the house, which is called forward dollar, it's under the world, they can make it just pretty much whatever they want it to be when you, as far as the developer though, once you get it. It's not like no conservation district, historical district, or nothing in it. It's in, I think they call it community, it's a community thing in forward Dallas.
Yes, but that is again a vision, it's not the zoning. The
Yeah.
property, the zoning is what the rights, the property rights are. So that's what I was talking about. So
Yeah.
regardless of what the place type for Fort Dallas is, the zoning on the land is the one that enables permits.
It enables permits, but what I'm saying, it allows them to apply for something. Before forward Dallas, you could even apply to change certain things certain ways.
You could. You always can apply for a zoning change. Any property owner can apply for a zoning change. It doesn't mean that they will get it, but they can ask for it. That is independent from Fort Dallas. So even before, there was obviously an option.
Can I ask a quick question before I go to this gentleman here? So if there is a zoning change, does the councilman get involved in it?
Without a doubt, any zoning change is subject to council approval, and obviously the council member for the district gets involved, and it's their motion to make. But it's an entire council decision.
All right, so this money about the property was the money that was set aside for homeless, right?
That's my understanding. Yes, sir.
So when you sell this property, that money has to go back into that coffin for the
Yes,
home.
sir. That is correct.
So my question is, how do we know that you're not gonna take the same money that you didn't do this with, and it's like they wanna move the bridge over to Executive Airport, or they had another project going on over on Independence, which is unfinished. So how do we know that you don't take the same money and still put stuff in our neighborhood that we don't want?
So that's a really good question, and I think the best way to respond to that one is have the way of the school representative, your district, that gets to weigh in on conversations about how money gets used. Today, to my knowledge, the second we divest of this piece of property and we get a best, highest cash offer, I am completely unaware of any other intent to use that money for any other purpose.
Who makes up the shortage if you don't get the $6.5 million that you bought it for? Who gonna make up that shortage, because it got to go back to the homeless?
When we first started this conversation, remember the objective was to sell, and we inherited the Independence property that was on Independence, 4150 Independence as a result of the redistricting. So the plan has always been, everybody said we would have a permanent supportive housing development in their district. I had two, so we were selling this one, and we're now taking those proceeds. The objective is to take those proceeds to begin developing Independence, because that's the property that we can use for that, and it makes sense from a location perspective, for the use of it, it makes sense to do that. So that's always been the plan, and will continue to be the plan. As far as the how much money we have, some colleagues that were concerned. I think Donnell Willis is chief of staff liaison is here, and one of her biggest issues was we promised the community that we were going to provide permanent supportive housing through this bond program. Well, the fact is we still will provide permanent supportive housing through these bond programs. Whether or not we get all of our money back on this, the 6.5 or not, it depends on how the bidding goes and how the marketing goes from that. But if we don't, legally, as long as that money goes back into the 2017 bond program that it came from, the Homes Proposition Bond, J, and it's used to provide permanent supportive housing at another location, then we have fulfilled our commitment to provide permanent supportive housing for the community. This is not that discussion. This is about us saying, okay, we're at this point. We fought, we got here. Now this is the next step. The next step is we gotta sell this property, because that's what we all want. Yay, we celebrate. Now, we all know that the elephant in the room is, well, who's gonna get it? So that's another layer that we have to come back through and fight. I'm just trying to walk you through this process as it evolves, so everybody is on the same page. One of the biggest things that's almost becoming a pet peeve is misunderstanding and rumors and bad information. That creates such a delay in what we're trying to do and what we're trying to build. So this is me saying, here's where we are. We don't have all the answers right now, but here's where we are. We fought, and we got to the point where we can sell this facility. So that's what's gonna happen next. Is there gonna be another fight? Maybe. We still have to go through council. Council gonna have their objectives. She's gonna have her objectives. Adam Bowser is gonna have what he wants to do with this. It's still going to be a discussion that we have to have. But the point is, I wanted to allow this platform to talk about where we are. If you have good ideas, send them from there. But do we still have another step? This is just step 2. Step 2 is to get the property sold. Step 3 is then to get that property developed into something that we want to see. What that looks like will become that conversation. Again, y'all correct me so I'm not saying anything wrong, but that's when that conversation will come back through council so that we can go ahead and start having that debate on the best use of that. We have plenty of folks in here that I've all said, Mr. Garcia and all us, we want single family homes, we want that type of development, retail and all of that. There are people who know that. There are also people here who want to turn it back into a hospital. We have those things as well. There are people out there who have all types of vision and ideas for it. The point of this is to make your voices heard in terms of what we want to see. We made that very clear. This is to talk about next steps. I just want to be clear on that. We are going to have another debate perhaps at the end of this year, beginning of next year, when it's time to go through and decide on what's the best use for that. I just want you all educated on where we are, and then I'll talk about this executive airport discussion once he finishes that. But I just, the intent, the original intent, sell, take proceeds, develop independence.
Appreciate it. No, you're good. This young lady was next.
Yeah.
You, and then
He's already answered my question.
oh, he did? Okay, well, then you go ahead. And then this young lady, maybe you'll be next. Just right here. Just give me 1 second.
Why don't you take that lady and really come to the house? I'd like to get all my issues put down.
Okay, you want us to have a separate meeting just for you?
Oh,
Is that what you're asking? Look, we work for you guys, so yes, ma'am, I understand.
I was on the community college board for 24 years, representing this community. It's not going to be a company that you bring to the table or who comes to the table that I probably don't do something, okay, in some shape or form. Because I've been through 2 bond programs and numerous expansions, and I always do my due diligence. Now, my first question, you said that you were going to list the property, where and in what form?
Sure, yeah, so when we list properties, we list them on, there are private databases that the real estate community subscribes to, will be listed publicly on websites. They potentially be listed on the residential MLS, which leads to Zillow and other websites like that. It will be listed on CBRE's website, and then we will directly market.
You want to stand up?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah,
Ma'am, you're next.
It will be directly marketed to developers and investors, and they will in the market here in the area.
You can mention that you want to, and it got mentioned at the city council.
Can you speak a little louder?
It got mentioned at the city council, and the council person mentioned that you wanted to see it come out as a RFP.
That was when we were initially trying to go through the debate. So, and thank you, that's a great, I'll talk about that really quick. So, we went through this process of going, we fought, how do we get here? There were a lot of things that I was trying to get through the process. One was an RFP. Be honest, no disrespect to any staff members that are here. I don't know that they're here, but for me, I wanted this out of the hands of staff. And if we did the RFP, because to me, and to y'all, many of you that are in this room, it felt like staff was moving in the direction of permanent supportive housing. So I thought it was in the best interest to use a third party to go through this process so that we would, there's a risk, but we can debate that, like I said, once we get all of the bids and responses. The RFP was going to put it back on the staff to determine best value, to do the evaluation process and all of that. Again, knowing what the temperature was and what it felt like in City Hall, I didn't want to go through that process, which is why we went through the bid. And from a business perspective, this may end up yielding us as closer to our original 6.5 to your original question.
This young lady had a question back here.
Yeah, on social
Yes, ma'am.
media
Welcome back to you.
yesterday, there was an article about the bridge closing downtown and possibly moving to Dallas Executive Airport property, which makes me wonder, how do we know that they're not gonna buy that property at 2900 Hampton Road and build the bridge down there next to the, elementary school, Keith Park?
But again, remember, all of those type of conversations still come back through City Council for debate. And I'll talk about that in a minute. Just wait, because I'm itching just as much as you are to talk about that one.
Yeah, that's when we're gonna.
Yeah, they gonna need to hear this.
Yeah, we're gonna let y'all have that one. Okay, all right. Was that, oh, I'm so sorry.
I know, Shorty can sit down. Question. Somebody buys a property and they want to change the zoning. You have to notify property owners within how much feet, and then it's going to be I'm in D4. I am right across the street, across Hampton.
Okay.
I'm in front yard's Keys Park. This is my grandparents' home. It's been there a long time. We have the second largest park in the city of Dallas, Keys Park. We have Rocher Elementary, only second school that's tied to a library with Hampton, Illinois Library. You got senior apartments. And you got D4 right across the street. You go the farthest northwest neighborhood in D4. We're the stepchild. So it's not just D3, it's D4 and D3. And you've got a second largest park in Dallas, you've got a highly rated elementary and a city library. We all deserve to know when those property owners decide they're gonna rezone it or wherever they're gonna zone it for, everybody gets notified. Because we got notified when the library went in, the school's gonna go in. We didn't vote for it, because I can tell you, you don't get out of your driveway at 7:30 in the morning for an hour and a half. But it's a good school, and we got a great library. So I want to know, are we going to get guaranteed that the community gets notified about all this?
Yes.
Because we didn't get notified 3.5 years ago.
So on the, as far as the standard notifications, there's a limit to how far they can send those. But again, this is intent for us to be a part of this journey all the way. So I am committed to making sure that we all are aware and know what's happening as soon as we can share what's happening. That is the point for this follow-up meeting, is to keep us in the loop as to what's happening even before we get there.
Okay, next question, and then the young lady in the back, second question.
Okay, a couple questions. One, I think is pretty simple, which is, the young lady over there mentioned the bid will be open. I just want to make sure that regardless of how many bids you get or when you get, that this process is going to stay up until the end of the year, right? If you get a bid tomorrow, you still keep the process open until the end of the year.
So Chris, you answer that as we receive offers, they will definitely submit them to us for our review. At what point in time will we close out and we have enough options for consideration?
Yeah, I think we have some flexibility on when we close it out. We can determine that if we receive a substantial amount of offers and interest and negotiated some of those. We can set a time frame of how long we want to leave them. That's not to speak out of turn, but part of the reason I think probably why we went through this process is listen to properties to give us flexibility.
But in general, though, if somebody offered $1 trillion for that piece of property, I'd cut the deal myself. Right? I just think, no, I don't want any cut. But if I can get $1 trillion for the city, I'd do it. I'd do it overnight.
My next question was, does this property have to be sold to the highest bidder? Because if the highest bidder is a homeless service provider, then we got to go more on with it. And I want to know, what are the restrictions?
No, it's not.
So let me share something with you, because I hear you, and this is the hard part for us when we answer these questions. People flip property all the time. So the day you got somebody who owns the property, just like we're selling it, and you think, oh, that's great, it's changing hands, and then boom, and then boom. That's how the market works. If somebody's, the councilman wants to ask, go ahead. But y'all get what I'm saying.
And I forgot to mention that, but if you remember in that debate, I tried to put those deed restrictions in, and I couldn't get the support for that. I had some who were like, okay, we with you, we'll understand. But the moment I started trying to put those deed restrictions in, that's where I lost a couple of votes, and we weren't going to be able to get it across the line. So that's how we lost the deed restrictions.
But then my question still was, does it have to go to the highest bidder? Or if there's a lower bidder with something that the community wants and a better idea, can it be sold to that one?
I'm gonna rephrase that question a little bit, because I think I know where you're going. So if we get to, let's say we have 3 bids, all of them are above $6.5 million, and one of them is the lowest of those 3. Let's say it's 6.2. I mean 6.7. Would we then have the option, the ability, let's say that one was the best, we've exceeded, got our bond proceeds back and all that, would we then have the flexibility from a council to discuss?
I'll have Ashley fact check it, but I believe you, as a city council, one of the council members of the council must only do what he believes is in the best interest of the city. Is that accurate?
How about the community, not the city?
No, I understand.
Well, I'm saying.
The city council.
The words matter.
That's all it is.
The words matter in this group, because the community was never involved.
I was just gonna put in that the state law does say the highest cash offer, but if we're meeting what our, threshold is, I think we will be fine.
There's some rules that we have to follow, obviously, but.
I mean, if the highest want to make it a prison, they want to make it a community college.
No, I understood. I see your hands. This young lady was waiting in the back.
But it's my understanding that they.
No. I'm so sorry. We'll come.
Well, she asked the exact same question that I was going to ask, but now I just want to follow up on that is, you're saying if they make to recoup your money, then you have some leeway, but if the lowest bid comes, if the highest low bid is 4 million, you're required to take the highest bid.
Yeah, sure. Well, we are required to take, depends, but we are required to take the highest bid to an extent.
But that state, but what she was saying is the other way, the reverse. So if we get 3 bids and then fall under, will we still have that same flexibility?
I would say after these sales, we can have that.
Right. Let me ask the question in another way. Could for some reason city council just not decide to sell the property to anybody?
That is true.
Right. So as much as, don't want to make this confusing for anybody, that's why I like to use the term best interest. I know you got concerned about how I did that, but the council has some flexibility to do what's in the best interest of the city. We say that it's staff because where I work, I represent all the council districts, right? We're here tonight and we're here every night if this is what's needed here because we work for the city, but we represent the entire city's interest, which includes people that live all over, right? Not just specific districts. Okay, this young lady had her hand up, and you were next, and then these 2 gentlemen in the back. By the way, this is question number 7.
Marketing efforts that you're going to have, so on these sites, on this particular property and what's being required
The due diligence information will be available to prospective buyers, but in terms of criteria for an offer, I don't believe we established.
and you're going to have it side by side.
Yes.
Okay, my next question is, since you're doing this process, are you going to be using an evaluation committee, or who will evaluate what you see?
Yes, ma'am. The evaluation committee is the city council.
I'm hoping y'all hearing this. Like, there's still a chance for it to come back through council. That's the moral of this story.
Well, I know you said one council person, but that's what they want to do. Now, my last question, I'm not gonna ask you.
No. I got a dry sense of humor. If you want us to have a meeting with just you, I'm open to that. I was just a little levity.
Well, hey,
Everybody's
that has
serious.
not worked out really well.
I get it.
I want to know. She said they had some work. Is CB or contract with you all? This property, you're doing other projects on December.
Correct.
I know about CB and what their capabilities are, and it gives me some concern that whatever contract they have with me, that the affiliates, favorite sons, or daughters get special treatment compared to councils. Or special, let me put it differently, special treatment. That everybody has the equal opportunity fairly. Level playing field, bid on this project. And if there's some prohibition in their
play legal tonight because we have hundreds of attorneys whose job it is to make sure that we have provisions that protect the city, that don't allow people that I would use the words, be able to double dip or to cross benefit people, because some large corporations, you're right, have lots of subsidiary and lots of sub relationships. And I think our agreements are tailored in such a way to protect the city. Okay, so this young lady was next, and then we were next, sir, and then the gentleman in the far back just asked the count on us, sir.
I just want to make sure that I understood. From the very beginning, you were discussing the auction.
Yes.
And you were saying that there was no stipulations as far as what the buyer can do with the property. However, it is zoned like it was a hospital previously, any kind of medical facility, blah, blah, blah. Then, she was saying that it can be changed to housing.
Yes, ma'am. So it's,
But not only that, hold on.
okay, yes, ma'am.
Usually when you have a bid, and what I'm understanding with the city, it just seems like all you're interested in is $6.5 million. But that's gonna put us right back in the same situation. If you do not have any specifications that the city council can go on to make sure that you might have a low bid, you might have a high bid. But as long as they meet your specifications, it doesn't matter what the price is. But from you all, it's like whoever bids the highest, and that's it, no specifications whatsoever.
So I have
And also, I got one more thing to add.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Also, however, the person who is going to purchase, have the highest bid or whatever, they don't necessarily have to tell you all when they're actually getting ready to sign the contract, what their intentions are to do with that property. If you don't have any specification to make them accountable. That's
Yes,
all I have to
ma'am.
say.
So, to answer your question properly, some of all you mentioned is accurate. I think what the council member was trying to tell you is each one of those is individual transactions, and there's decision points thereafter, right? So the first one is, as I mentioned earlier, we're selling as is based on the instructions from city council and so forth. Which means, right, there's no deed restriction, there's nothing withholding somebody based on what you're going to do with the property. However, we flip gears on that. As she was sharing, there's already underlying zoning that dictates what can be done there, right? So all of these things, and not to make this confusing, but all of them are in sequence together at the same time. Just as much as she also mentioned that somebody can come back and through the zoning process, change the existing zoning. All of those are there. Somebody else mentioned something, and I was trying not to make the meeting super confusing, but they were concerned about, well, they bought the property, it was over. Well, man, people sell property all the time. They'll flip it because somebody else might come in and want to do something different and they get a better price, or they decide not to develop. All of those things are possibilities. I think what you guys have the benefit of, and I think the councilman was trying to tell you, regardless of the stage or step, he's coming back to talk to you guys about it, and where he has influence, he's going to use it at whatever stage in the process we are, at whatever step. He was trying to share over and over again tonight. This first one is the sale. Okay, and that's a lot of what we were trying to focus on tonight to give you the update. The next step is the sale. I'll come here next. Go ahead, sir.
In this community, of course, you all realize the fervor that we bring to this. That's already been proven over the years. Of course, it's been dropped in the councilman's lap. You mentioned a few times about the best interests of the community and the city. So, in evaluating, correct, this particular process at the end.
Yes.
Best interest of our community, you all already know. I'm speaking to staff that's here. Ms. Andrea and your staff. There's also a question I'd like her to answer, which is concerning the PD process. A lot of people here may not know about plan development. But is there something within the PD process that a buyer may be able to do to effect some type of change in that PD to zoning and making changes in the PD, that our interests are still represented. Not necessarily all the cities, because they don't care about what they dump on us. We all the dumping ground to the north. But you all already know what we have here, quality neighborhoods and people. So therefore, how do we make sure the best interest, that you kept saying, of what we want out of the community, how do we assure that remains? Councilman, I guess, has to speak to it, but also.
I'll let, while she's walking up to answer that question before Councilman comes in. So, I've been with the city for 28 years. Why? I have no idea. 28 years. And so when I hear that, it always takes me back for a second, because my first thought is, we're transactional, right? We have city codes and we have ordinances that are adopted by our city council, and staff's job is to execute, right? Just like a police officer at a stop and people are speeding, they don't decide what the speed limit is on the road, they enforce and they execute. The policy-making body and the decision-making body is the city council. They help develop those codes and procedures, and some of it's just following nothing but what state law is, because there's a lot of state requirements that we then incorporate into our city code because we have to follow them anyway, and any federal requirements on top of that. And then we have our layer that our city council members have cobbled together over maybe the last 100-something years about how developments and things will be bought and sold and done here in Dallas, and we go execute. All 28 years, I can't tell you how many community meetings like this I've been at, and some of them have been more pleasant than others. Some of them I don't even want to remember again. But that being said, my point in sharing this is that we don't have some hidden agenda. I was being very serious when I was teasing this young lady, and she didn't care for my jokes. I was very serious. If we need to meet with her or anybody else, that's what we do. That's why we're here tonight. So I don't have any issue with that. But when it comes to a decision where you guys are saying staff or that we've decided these things, we don't have the authority to do that. We take our charge and direction from the city council, and then we go execute, right? And so I just want to share that. There's some, guardrails that we have that we're supposed to follow. We have council agendas, we have briefings, we have things that we bring to them so they can give us guidance on what we need to go execute. Just wanted to show that. Okay, this gentleman, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, thank you so much. I know Commissioner since he was a commissioner,
Got
city
it.
commissioner for
Got it.
district reasons. So thank you for your service. That's how we know each other. Why didn't you know? Great respect there. I will reiterate, the property is already, generally, that's what we think. We didn't do an official determination. It's already entitled for housing. And anybody who buys this can already build multi-family housing on the property in this community, so we need to know that. As I said earlier, yes, anybody who is the owner can apply to change and modify the PD. That is a zoning change, and it goes in front of city council, and we will notify, and everything the Councilman Gracey said, we can work to go a little bit above and beyond what the state law. We have some communication requirements. So yes, if somebody buys a property, wants to do something other than it's in the PD. However, again, multi-family can be built, and it has some development standards there. So thank you for bringing me here. Thank you for your service again.
Mr. Gracey went outside. Oh, you can.
You mentioned something about, are you familiar with term reserve?
Yes.
So you're saying there's no reserve on that bid process?
There is a threshold that council will, of course, look at the offers, but there is a threshold that they will consider. But typically the reserve language is used on the public auction process.
Right, yeah. So, but that, somebody mentioned before we so you have reserve for certain, you have to start
So Andrea, help me with something. So I'm sorry, we're gonna be back in the sequence of questions, but, and again, if 2 or 3 people heard the same thing, I think maybe we need to for sure clean this up. Did you mention at any time that this property was zoned for houses?
So, yes, the property is now zoned for housing since September 1st because state law changed and state law says that everywhere you allow office or warehouse, multifamily must be allowed.
Zone for housing and what house?
A portion allows warehousing, I will read you all the uses, office, medical office. So the property has different tracts, so it's divided into different areas. 2 of them are zoned only for landscape, open space and parking, those along Hampton. And everything that's on the interior, there are 4 tracts that allow medical office, hospital, medical education facilities, an existing mechanical plant, medical clinic, ambulatory surgical center, parking, open space warehouse, parking, landscape, open space, office, education facilities, community meeting rooms. All these uses are going to continue to be allowed. On top of the multi-family housing is an allowed use as well.
As of September 1.
As of September 1st, because of this, yes.
Thank you for the clarification.
Mr. Crawford? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Oh, I thought you were going there.
Well,
Okay, yes, he was next. Yes.
So you mentioned at the top of the meeting that the goal was to send it to council for a decision by the end of this year, correct?
Yes, sir.
The last meeting is December 10th, so let's assume you need 2 weeks prior to prepare it, so we're looking at November 15th, correct?
This might not be too far off.
So we have a 2-month window between tomorrow morning and November 15th.
When you say that window, you mean the window of which CBRE will be entertaining?
Yes.
Yes, certain offers. Yes, sir. That's. I think that's approximately. I'll look at my team over here. That's
So we're
approximately
looking
correct.
at 60 days.
Not long.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So I was going to say.
Oh, go ahead. No.
I wanted to follow up on that question too. Part of this is, and this is one of those situations where, you know how our friends in the north will email y'all and say, hey, we got to stand up for this. A perfect example is STR, right? Short-term rentals, right? They reach out and say, we need to do this. We all need to be, united on this and all this kind of stuff. I'm going to encourage you all to do that same thing. Reach out to your friends in the north and tell them what it is we want to see on this property so that when this comes to a debate, y'all voices have been heard and supported like it happens time and time again when it comes this way. If by the time it gets Southern Dallas, everybody is, we got to stop this, we got to do this. But sometimes, when it comes to Southern Dallas, I promise that was traumatic. But sometimes when they come, we standing alone.
Yes.
Do you understand what I'm saying when I say that?
Yes.
And it's getting ready to come out. I'm trying not to, but I get extremely frustrated because oftentimes we're left fighting by ourselves when it comes to stuff in Southern Dallas. Reach out to your friends. If you got friends in North Dallas, 7, 8, wherever they are, not 7, 8, but 12, 13, whatever they are, if you have friends, tell them exactly what it is you want and encourage them to reach out to their council members so that they know exactly what it is we want to see down here. And I'm so serious about that. I'm tired of standing by ourselves when it comes to Southern Dallas stuff. I'm tired of it. Hold them, encourage them to stand with us sometimes. That's all I'm saying. So we all know, we've been talking about this. We know we want all these different things that we talked about doing in there, medical spot, all these different things, housing, retail, all of that. Communicate that to your friends in North Dallas so that can be communicated to their council members and we can have that same level of pressure when it comes to stuff. Yes, ma'am.
But it just seems like, since I've been reading in the papers and hearing the news, the council is just gung-ho on what they call affordable housing or affordable housing or multifamily housing, you never hear about nothing else.
That's what I'm saying.
That seems to be, it seems to be the role that all of them on that council.
Because some have the luxury of not having pressure from their constituents, which means they don't have, they don't have anything else to do. I mean, I'm serious. I'm not laughing about this. I'm like this lady right here. Like, this is something that's really bothering. I'm at a point now where I'm just, what I said. So trust me when I say I hear what you're saying, but we also need to send some of that pressure back so that we not up here, I'm not up here trying to convince, you know, her council member or his council member for two very different reasons, but they both want supportive and supportive housing for two very different reasons. Excuse me if I'm misspeaking, but I think I'm accurate in that. So that's what I'm saying.
But do they really care about what we do? That's my
They don't care until they have that pressure.
If you're not vested in it, I mean.
But they don't care until they have that pressure from their constituents. That's all I'm trying to communicate here is, again, we're oftentimes standing together, parking changes, all of these different things. We all together, got on t-shirts and everything. You know what I mean? But when it comes to Southern Dallas, we're standing alone. And I'm telling y'all already know what's coming. You already know. Even, never mind this, you already know what it is. So we have to start sending some of those messages back and being very clear on what it is we want to see in this property so that they know, so that when we're having this debate, when we're going over best value, they are very clear on what this community's districts 3, 4, even 1 are very clear on what it is we want to see and how we want to see this property utilized. That's the point I'm trying to stress here. I'm really trying to lay out the game plan without laying out the game plan for y'all. I'm saying right now, we're here, here's where we are. The objective is to sell. Told you what the other barriers are. I got the ball, it's football season. I got the ball, it's kickoff. I gotta map my course out. Here it is. I got a blocker coming up over here. Go ahead, Angie, get him. I'm coming. You know what I mean? That's where we are now. So I just want you all to just really appreciate, one, I'm trying to be as transparent as possible. Two, we're as early as possible in the beginning of this so that we can know how to respond, right? If they come and the wall breaks down, you can go to some football, sorry. But you understand what I'm saying. This is our time to really, I want you all to know what's happening. I want you to know when it's happening. And I want us to have communicated clearly what it is we want to see.
Before you leave, I know we about out of time. I want to hear about the executive airport.
Okay. Let me get a couple more questions about this.
Will all of this be made public?
That is a great question. I don't know. No, because it's private bid. I mean, it's low bid if it makes.
So we will be in the dark. We don't know what the city. We know what the city selects. We don't know what the losers are.
You'll know after the fact. I think they post after, don't they? We'll know
So
before
go into an
the
executive session to review all.
Oh, that's what it is. That's right. Yeah. But the message here is to communicate what it is we want and make sure that the people in the north. Yes, ma'am. She's been thinking. I got you say.
Yeah, long time. Just to piggyback on what you said, I remember Jesse Jackson making the comment one time. We support them.
In Lake Highlands in Northeast Dallas. My aunt passed away. I inherited my grandparents' home, which is on Perry. We chose to live there. We chose to move back. People will ask, my husband's answer was great. They said, where do you live? And I said, Oak Cliff. He said, oh. They said, yeah, Oak Cliff. But I will tell you something, as a neighborhood president and crime watcher we've had, Northeast Dallas has a higher crime rate than Oak Cliff. And you can look at it consistently. You can check DPD because it's true. Because they have a alleyway of Skillman, Aldelia, that area of Forest, that's drugs. It's the older apartments. Oak Cliff as a whole has a lower crime rate than north of Dallas. If you look at Northwest Dallas, compare Oak Cliff, different. It's a selling point. It's not an, oh, it's where you live. It's we're in Oak Cliff, the best neighborhood in Dallas.
Thank you. We're gonna take 2 more comments. I guess it's this right here. Come on, almost like.
Also, on the note that you just said, if we were to tell our friends in North Dallas what's one sentence that we could all just reiterate over and over again to tell them when we want their support.
Single family homes retail. Am I wrong?
You're right.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right.
Single family homes retail priority. Yeah, well, because I'm saying there's space for that. I mean, there's space to do multifamily, there's space to do townhomes, there's all of that, but the priority, single family retail.
But, okay, where's the closest hospital? Where's the closest grocery store? They only have one grocery store, and that's Fiesta. The closest hospital, you have Charlton, you have Lane.
But again, when you think about that entire section, again, and that's what I want us to make sure, I'm glad you asked that. When you think about this entire piece of property, yeah, we got that hospital right there, but you also, from a medical perspective, you have that. When I say retail, that encompasses those things. There's spaces to build small bodegas type, yeah.
Something like that.
Well, then there's the urgent care. There's that other separate building that's not even a part of this discussion. I think they're selling that too, right? That other building, the medical building that's not the doctors. The doctors, I think they're selling that too, aren't they? I know, but is it up for sale? Is what I'm asking. I thought I saw it for sale.
That Griego print? Is that?
Okay. So anyway, yes, ma'am.
All right. I was, the city council, not you specifically, but the Dallas City Council makes it extremely difficult to go down there and stay informed and do well and speak with them. The day that y'all voted on this, I was there 10 hours. 10 hours. And y'all went in executive session and came out with a decision, which means the public can't know what the decision is. I want to know, I want a clear answer right now. Is there a requirement that this property be sold for $6.5 million or above? Okay, that's my first question. If nobody reaches, if no bidder reaches that threshold, and you consider, will you consider lower bids? And will they be based on community needs, community wants, or the city council, the city manager's decision? Because I know y'all discussed that too. You know, let the city manager decide. Before I walk out of here, I'd like to know, because this process seems to have changed since that day in June. I want the bottom line. What is the minimum bid? Because based on current property values and how much the city overpaid for that, you're probably going to lose money on it.
I want to be clear for that part. I'm sorry, guys. Go ahead. I'm sorry, sir. You look so defeated.
Oh, no.
I'm giving back to you.
Okay, my bad. I was trying to keep up with all your questions, so just bear with me for a second. Staff was given direction in executive session on the 11th when they made the vote. We're following that. That is the, I understand, man. That's because we're dealing with real estate. You can go to the state law and things of that nature. When you talk about real estate, the rules change when information that can and should make sense to be made available to the public. That's something that we can't disclose to you.
Can you disclose to me whether you will accept bids under $6.5 million?
Ma'am, to do so could, if I were to say that in this room, I just want you to bear with me because I'm not going to answer it, but I'm going to try to answer it. Anything that I say about anything the city would entertain would influence anybody who's listening and trying to decide what they're going to offer us for the property. So we don't want to do anything. Now, granted, some people would tell you, do anything you can to jack up the price, right? Because you're the seller, not the buyer, right? You don't want to do anything that we're going to negatively influence, or just because somebody showed up tonight, they received information that the rest of the world didn't get because they didn't know to show up tonight expecting us to talk about something that's not meant to be disclosed to anybody else, right? That would be unfair. There's just issues with that. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to.
No, I appreciate that. So we're going to do this one and that one, last one. So, yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
About 6 years ago,
$12 million to structure bank, X number of $1 million to this. When we advocated for this hospital, why can't something on this side of town, which is Black and Latino, of course, white people, but it's primarily Black and Latino, why can't this part of town get $55 million or something, $12 million for that now? Second, when I go down to city council and take my 3 minutes, as Zarin has seen me do multiple times, when I advocate for something like the hospital, that I'm the only one there, right? But when Hero goes down there to talk about we don't have enough police, they have one after another, after another, after another, after another, after another. That's what he's talking about. So I've been down to council for 10 years, but I always go down there by myself. I stand there, and they look at me, they let me speak my 3 minutes, and the next lady comes up, she starts talking about fluoride. They're completely nuts. They're talking about the FBI and all this other stuff. So everybody here should be going down to city council, taking your 3 minutes, and one after another to show the community is actually supporting what he's doing. Okay?
Thank you. Yes, sir, Dr. Graham. So then we can see this last one. Get to the church family.
Yeah, I wanted to, I'm Dr. Edwards, and I've been in this community since 1983. I'm from Tatum, Texas. We still have the 190, but all those don't. Understand this, that all of us at one point in time are going to have to go to the doctor. As we currently sit today, there are 41 hospitals in Dallas County. And if you take the Trinity River and go south, you will run into 2 big hospitals 14 miles apart. On the other side of town, which you probably don't want to hear of, there are 39 hospitals. So you see the outcome, and when our taxes go up, it's because we're paying for those guys and not paying for these. So it's incumbent on, I'm here, and it's incumbent on me to say this to you all, that you start to looking out for yourself. And I say Oak Cliff, I mean Oak Cliff. And it's kind of unconscionable for a layout like I've heard tonight. So I'm still confused. Do you make the decision before, or do you make the decision after, or do you make the decision at the time of how you're going to outlay this particular piece of property? But we need a hospital real bad. And if I have anything to do with it, it ain't gonna be no more cheap. That's over. Okay? And so I hope that we can come together on something that is very particular to us. This hospital I started in 1983. And so I saw it, I was there the day that it closed. And I hated to see it close. But we had some thugs that got involved, and you couldn't do a whole lot about it. And so I want you all to know that we ought to be able to conjure it up enough. Don't go to the Cowboys game anymore this year. But we have the ability to change things. And there's not going to be a lot of people to help us. So we're going to have to get together and say, hey man, this is something we really need to get done. I don't want to see you coming. I almost quit in 2020 when I was intubating 18 and 19 and 20-year-old people who were dying of COVID. And now we don't have anywhere to take them unless you want to go out to Charlton and sit out there, and you can die there real quick. So I'm interested. This is my frat brother. This is my fraternity brother. I don't know what brother tonight. Oh, we want to do something constructive for this community. We can. We have the ability to do it, and I promise you that I'll be here 100%. In 8 months, I'll be 75 years old. And I'm still running the track. And I'll fight right now. So I wanted to let you all know that we're somebody. We have value, right? And you can't do a whole lot when you're sick. And so we are at a crossroads, and I think that we all can think about this in a special way. And we need to go down there together. We'll go to the city and we'll say what we got to say. And thank you for taking the time.
Thank you. One more, 1 and 2, and then we gotta wrap this up. Okay, go.
This is just an FYI. You can go to the State of Texas website and look up Texas Open Meetings Act. And that booklet is online. But there are exclusions to open meetings, and real estate is one of them. Okay? And every time a question comes up about this real estate, the city's attorneys, and this is any public building, they are going to shut them down and take that discussion behind closed doors. So realistically, you will never know what was said and who said it if it's about real estate. But I wanted to share that information. You can look it up yourself and read everything that it covers. But it's good to know what's excluded, and these public entities don't have to bring that discussion out into the open. But that was not a question, but a FYI.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much for the community. Thank you so much. And 1 and 2. We'll give you the funeral,
See, he can't come out and tell you, because if he does, he can get sued. The city can get sued.
Go ahead.
Last year when we had the meeting at the Keys Recreation Center, I believe Ms. Onga Sanders talked about a task force that she was a part of, where they were gathering information. Is that task force still going on?
No.
Okay, so, sure. So I think what I'm hearing is you want us to mobilize ourselves, right, as a collective, so that we can garner enough support so that we can be heard as a body.
Yeah.
However, we need some kind of central group, task force, committee, so that when these things happen, we're not reliant on seeing something on next door at 7 o'clock as we're preparing dinner. That we know what the next step is in order to mobilize ourselves, so that we all get the same information in a timely manner and we can respond or show up appropriately. So is there a task force that, because I know at that meeting, they took down everyone's name. At the time, Councilman Casey was the representative for District 3. Did he pass on the list of the people who attended that meeting to you, so that then that task force or something like it can get those names, and then we can start to mobilize as a community? Because without that, we're all literally individuals sitting in our homes trying to figure out what to do. But someone or some task force, committee, whatever you want to call it, needs to bring us together so they can disseminate information and call us to action.
Thank you for the task force. Now, let me ask you this. Are you talking about just the hospital, or are you talking about, she said,
I'm talking about all of it, because to some extent, let me be careful.
Don't. You can.
I came here to hear about the plans to. I came here to hear about the plans to move a homeless shelter to the executive airport.
Right. So that's what I'm going with that.
which is a mile down the road and has the same challenges as it did when we were talking about next to Jimmy Tyler Bashir.
Okay.
And so it's not just about this one property, because clearly, as everyone has identified and spoken in the little time I've been here, is that they are intent on putting something in our district.
And I'm going to talk about that, Seth, if y'all want to go ahead and make y'all exit, because this is about to get
I don't want to exit.
Huh?
I don't want to exit.
Okay. Go
No, no, let him exit, let him exit.
No, I don't want to mention this yet.
Oh, he'll, for them.
The gentleman back there said for 28 years he went to meetings like this. And he's heard this over and over and over, and that's fine. I did it for 32 in 5 different jurisdictions. So my comments are to the staff of planning and to CBRE. You guys, this is not accusatory. It's just making a statement of what I felt tonight. It's very easy to say, well, state law says this, council's going to make the decision. All I do is give them the information. I'm going to give them the ingredients. They're going to make the salad. So if you don't like to sell it, you can't do anything about it. I want to be sure you have heard the passion in this meeting tonight established. When I was in Cincinnati, back in the early 80s, I'll take that, late 70s, early 70s. I'm getting so old right now. My boss asked me to write the affirmative action plan for the city of Cincinnati. Those days, affirmative action plans were hot potatoes. Nobody wanted to deal with them. He said, you write that strong as you're capable of writing it. I will get this through the city council. He was a city manager. You don't have the power of a city manager. If you've heard the passion, I want you to translate that passion into how you approach your responsibilities. I know there are real estate restrictions, I know there are planning constraints, but you can still maneuver some. You can play the game. One of the games he played with that affirmative action program was write it as strong as you can. I'm going to go out and get the NAACP that says crap. NAACP says it's crap, the council's going to buy it. Because they don't think, oh, this is nothing, it's not going to be a problem. There are ways in which you can use what you do, your skills, your abilities. I hope that you will do it, because this neighborhood, we all know, it's just simply too much. We've all talked about how beautiful it is, but how it gets stepped on. It's a step check. It doesn't have to be. And a lot of that change can come from you. I'm not asking you to break the law. Now, I wish the city attorney was here as well. But make sure that you understand what we want, where we live, our quality of life is just as important as those that live up by 630.
Thank you. Thank you, Frank. And I failed to do this in the beginning. Trustee Foreman, thank you for being here. She is a trustee over the school. Let's get her. Mr. Garcia's representative is here as well, so thank you all for being here. Trustee, consistently been here, walking alongside of us with this fight, ensuring that the community's voice is being heard. So I sincerely thank both of you all for being here, being represented. I'm gonna do this in 5 minutes. All right.
One last thing. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your service. The only thing I was trying to convey is that it's our job to be impartial. Because the government is set up for them to make certain decisions that we're not supposed to. Right? That's
if you want me to record what he's going to say next.
We spent a lot of time talking about it. I have my business card. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Okay, well, that's where I was going. I was just going to sit on the edge of the table. You guys call me. You guys go on direct. Yeah.